Live here, and it says I'm live here. All right, let's get started. Islam, Islam, Islamism. We are here, we are here, we are here for 30 minutes more or less. I am Sister Tahita S. Najiola L of CalifaMedia.com, mrcicharities.org and com, riseofthemoors.org and com, and certifiedmoorish.org and com. And I am here for my weekly, strongly, however you want to put that. I respect y'all views or whatever, but I can't satisfy everybody. So I do my best. Where I come here every Friday and share what I've seen in the news and update more on what I got going on so they can see where they can get in to fit in and maybe, network and find somewhere where people can help them out to expand their what they got going on. All right. So that being said, again, I am Sister Tahita S. Najiola L. All right. This one might not be too long because I'm extremely distracted because I've been gone for a week, right? Actually longer than that. No, it's been since last Tuesday. And you know how it is. If you get into habits, it's kind of hard to get back into those habits if you've been gone for a while. And I actually took like an actual for real break, a for real vacation. So I'm kind of trying to ease my way back into stuff. So this might be a short one. All right. So thank you to all who are seeing this right now and to all who will see this later. Appreciate y'all. So weekly news. Lots been going on. I haven't been paying attention because I actually took a break. So I haven't, taking a break in these days and times means like being a little out of touch, being a lot out of the loop. And I came back feeling extremely relaxed and I didn't bother looking and finding out what did I miss while I was gone because, I could find that'll always be there. That'll be there until it's not, whatever. But this state of relaxation and borderline euphoria I'm feeling, I'm gonna coast on this for a minute. I'm not going to contribute to the ruinization of it by looking at the news and seeing all the stuff that happened, right? Because I know it's messed up. So anyway, so I'm a little out the loop, but I'll see if I can touch on something. So announcements real quick because I like to just jump right into this so I can go and get stuff covered. Again, I'm a little out of the mood, the mode, the flow because I've been gone for a little while. I'm out of sync or whatever. So I'm just gonna jump into the announcements because I don't really have any news. If you haven't heard, Califa Media has out a new book. I've been showing you all the proof, right, for the last couple of weeks. Got the actual copy, right? And like I said, it is actually thicker. I was like, should I be petty and show folks? Yes, I will. There's the actual difference. All right, which one is it? I think this one is this is the proof, and this is the actual version, right? It's thicker. Just trust me, it's thicker. All right. So anyway, these are in-house. These can only be obtained by visiting either califamedia.com or our shop site, our storefront, califamedia.works. Know them by their works. All right. So, and this breaks down the 508C1A incorporation process that I use to set up and run my business, califamedia.com, which is under a whole bunch of other stuff. And it's legal. The book goes into how I notified all the people who will come to see me with guns to empty out my pockets. All right. I tested it because I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to be responsible for anybody going to jail. So I vet my stuff before I release my stuff. And this breaks down how I set up my business, exploiting my status as a Moorish American indigenous person who knows what's going on this land. All right. And it's quite timely because if you haven't noticed, the United States economy is collapsing. It's 1929 all over again. And it just like back then, I got to look it up, or some other Moor can take this, have at it. It's all yours. I got to look it up to see what were the Moors doing in 1925. I already covered that. That's when Noble Drew Ali touched down in Chicago. right? It started the Moorish movement in America in Chicago. He relocated from Newark. And so what was going on between 1925 and when he transitioned 4 years later? If you think about how much the Prophet was able to get done without the benefit of the technology we have within 4 years. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and give myself a small excuse and be like, well, time was moving slower back then, right? Because time is flying now. I can't believe it's almost the end of November. Today is the 21st, right? When you wake up in the morning, if you follow the Placidus system of astrology, when you wake up in the morning, will have moved out of Scorpio into Sagittarius already. It's the end of the year, right? Once you hit Scorpio, it's like you got to start dusting off the shutters and all that stuff. Sagittarius, it's like, all right, it's about to start snowing because Capricorn is right around the corner. That kind of thing already. So my point being, what was my point? I don't remember. It doesn't matter. If I forgot, it's okay. I'm just gonna go with the flow because, like I said before at the beginning, I'm a little bit distracted. So anyway, don't forget the book like I was saying, now I remember what I was saying. This is timely because the United States is collapsing because the business of America is business. Quote Woodrow Wilson, the president that the Prophet went to and said, give me back my flag. And he said the business of America is business. If I'm not mistaken, please feel free to correct me. I will let me see what these things say. All right. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you to all who are commenting. Appreciate y'all. But yeah. So I'm wondering if the Moors setting up businesses, because I'm guessing that's what the Prophet had the Moors doing. He moved from Newark, which is funny. Ain't that something? So I'm tonight. What is that? Summary of what I'm gonna cover tonight. A couple of announcements, including the book. All right. And a recap it also includes a recap of the meetup that I just got back from this past Sunday, right? And I'm like, wait a minute. So I there was actually a meetup today this year. How many were there this year? I'm counting 3. There might have been more, but I know there were at least 3. And this was at least the third one. So this was Georgia, and the one before this was Newark and New Jersey, where we went and actually visited the spots where the Prophet started the Moorish movement, right? Visited the site of Dixon's barber shop and went to the Hall of Records where he filed the first filings or whatever. I should have went. Oh, it was Sunday. That's why we couldn't go in and actually go look for the stuff. Might have to go back because I do want to go back. So yeah, I'm like, that's funny. So we went and visited where the Prophet was before he moved to Chicago 100 years ago, this year. That's really cool. So honors and hey, y'all welcome, I guess. I'm trying to remain humble to the Moors who were able to make it to that one. That's pretty cool. And then the Moors did sort of a pilgrimage this year. Because I was like, why are we going back? Why are the Moors not gathered here like this? Hopefully that meant something, and hopefully it has something to do with business. Set up your business because there's a prophecy that says one day all the wheels of industry will stop, and when they start again, it will be in the Asiatics' favor. So you might want to do what? Take your place. Yes, I'm going to keep pushing that. All right. So in addition to putting out books, right? Cultural items of which I have none within. Oh, yes, I do. Ha ha ha. Always prepared. Cultural items, right? These are stickers that are available in shop, wherever you're seeing it, or you can go to califamedia.com. I have to put them on califamedia.works, but as you can see, these are stickers for little girls, breaking down what the different colors of the turban mean, okay? And this is printed. Yeah, I got like, whoa, okay, I didn't know I had this many. They're ready to go. I got three sheets of them, all right? Printed and cut in-house, made by Moors for Moors. All right. And like I said, it shows the little sisters, right? The little beards. If you know anything of it, there's a free PDF out called Moorish Literature. and it has allegedly, supposedly, literature written by our people before, immediately before, and during the immediately during immediately before, during, and immediately after the fall of Granada. It's really good. And they called our children little beards because they had a habit, if I remember correctly, because it's been a while since I read it, they had a habit of like tugging or rubbing on beards. The babies, the children, the Moorish children rubbed on beards because, it's like I'm the only one that gets to do this, right? My mother doesn't even get to do this because she's hardly ever around them because she got her own thing going on. It's like being able to tug on a lion's beard, right? So they called our children little beards because, I guess the Caucasians, they used to make fun of the little Caucasian children because their father's beards weren't thick enough to do that. Like, haha, I can grab on my father's beard. I'm a little beard. So cool. So these are for the little beards. All right, bringing it back. Oh, these are just some stationery. If you need stationery done, that leads me straight to what I was about to say. In addition to the book and the items, a new service, because people have been asking, do you publish books? No, I have enough to keep track of. But because so many people have been asking, am I publishing? No, I'm not publishing, but I will be more than happy to help you get your book ready for publication. And if you got your stuff done, not the editing, okay, not the proofreading, you just need it. You need a layout where, okay, here's how many pages I have. Here go my graphics. I need you to put this into a layout so that it fits within a certain number of pages or whatever you're trying to do. And I also need an index and a table of content and a title page and what is that? Yeah, and the copyright page. That's layout. I'll do that for you. So that's coming soon because I really am like, man, what is it that I don't mind doing? I love my digital product. This is for the Moors who ones who take their places. All right, talking about business. What do you like to do? I like just getting money for work I have to do maybe one time. Who does it? It's like planting an orchard, right? I don't feel like growing corn, rice, beans, and all this stuff, planting that stuff every year. Me personally, I would much rather have an orchard, something predictable. Yes, it takes a whole lot of work, and I gotta wait a little bit of time for it to produce some fruit. But once that mug gets rolling, I'm done for about 7 generations. Right? Think about what is that? Wine vineyards, olive vineyards. Okay, who is that? The Palestinians. How the ones who've been the Christian ones, especially the ones who've managed to keep their property in their family since before anybody can remember. Those trees are like hundreds of years old. Hundreds. All right. Yes, it took a while to make sure to harvest that fruit, but once you got it, so that's my thing. All right. But what else do I like besides that? I like putting books together. I don't really, I'll do the editing if I have to. I'll do the proofreading if I have to. I like doing layout. Like, give me your text that's already ready to go, so I don't have to do nothing else. And then I'll make it, and I'll even make the cover for you because I like doing graphics too. So that's coming soon. And maybe I'll throw in the editing and the layout part later, or the proofreading part as well, since that does go into it. So, in addition to the new book, that new service as far as layout, if you are a Moor and you want your book, you want to make sure that your vision won't be discouraged. You don't have to explain too much because you're dealing with a fellow Moor or sister in Moor, however you want to put it, that kind of thing. And I recognize the importance of what? Signs and symbols, which is actually tonight's topic. All right. But before I go into that, don't forget more. I'm gonna get past the announcements. Don't forget your Quran, hard copy, and this Quran, this edition, because there's another one, contains a copy of a copy of an edition that a Moor was able to acquire off of eBay that is supposedly an original copy. So that's what's up in here. And it's hard, so you can actually use it as a family record. And don't forget about the 2 exclusives to Califa Media, Isonomy and The Torch, where these are like my 2 best sellers. All right. And I know they sell so well because bookstores buy them by the case. So I've decided to take my place and make it where if you want these Moorish goods, you got to come to a Moor to get them. And if you are ready to take your place, the Prophet left us everything. If you're ready to take your place, there are opportunities to join in this effort and become a distributor for Califa Media, right? That way Moors can order tax-free, right? You don't collect taxes, you don't remit taxes, okay? Moors can order tax-free in your territory, so-called state, if you're set up as a distributor, that kind of thing. Because I'm actually doing it on my own right now. But hey, if Moors want to get into that as another stream of income, hit me up. Editor at califamedia.com or go to califamedia.com, certifiedmoorish.org, or riseofthemoors.org. Contact us and you can shoot me an email. It's right there. All right. So, like I was saying, signs and symbols. Wow, this is all tying in together. I think I'm going to skip the news because all of the stuff that's going on, 1, does not interest me, because 2, it does not involve me. So unfortunately, tragically, allegedly, you got this whole Epstein thing still going on. I don't care, because the only thing that I kept saying when it was going on, only time when it comes up, that's when I know what's going on about it. Was someone else brings it up. I'm not seeking this stuff out. And I listen just to hear indications of whether or not our girls were involved. So far, no. So you all have been abusing your own daughters, which is nothing new. I don't care. I really don't, right? It's tragic. It's unfortunate, but it sounds like a you problem. So moving on. All right. So other thing that happened this week, I'm not going into it. Declassified professions. If you have one of these professions, I don't have the list because I don't work for the beast. I work for myself. They're declassifying all the professions that put so-called Black women into upper middle class and upper class. Okay. These people are saying teaching is not a profession. So let's think about that for a second. The Department of Education, the Department of Education that determines what gets classified as a profession, I'm assuming, because I haven't had time to actually look into it because it just happened. For the sake of funding, like, are we going to like give grants and loans for this? That's based on whether it's classified as a profession or a non-profession. So they just took all the jobs that were mostly occupied by so-called Black women and made those non-profession, one of which is teaching. So the Department of Education has classified teaching as a non-profession. The irony. That's crazy, right? But it's okay. Who cares? Because people are all freaking out and all this stuff, but they keep forgetting, or not, that's nice federal side. This government has 2 seals. Actually, I guess for the sake of this argument, it has 3. So there's the federal, there's ours, right? You got the part and the parcel, the one you can't do without. All right. And then you have the federal versus the state. That's why it's like the federal government shut down for 40 something days. All right. And I know they like, oh, we got to open. I knew that was going to happen. We got to open this mug up because we're about to lose a whole lot of holiday money. But I also thought like, yeah, y'all also had to open it up because the states were about to encourage the private side, because you got to remember, let's take the airports for example. The airports are not federal property. The airports are not state property. If I'm not mistaken, the airports are private property. So how long y'all planning on doing this? Because we got our we need to let our attorneys know the deadline for privatizing this thing. Since they're in our airports anyway, why not just go ahead privatize everything so we don't have to keep going through this? But we might see that happen in part two when they shut down the government again in January. Watch for it. Because a lot of people said they're not going to reopen the government. They're not going to reopen the government. Don't call those people wrong yet. Okay? Because this is some continuing resolution where they just said we just gonna do enough to satisfy, to make it look like we satisfying both sides or whatever. Because they got left wing, right wing, same bird. We got to make it look good for the public. So we just gonna pass this thing that's good until January. I don't know. I gotta look it up. I don't know if it's till the beginning of January or the end of January. But needless to say, yes, we're gonna get through the holidays, but those corporations still gotta make their money. And what's good? You're in my business. It's like who is that? Starbucks has opened up a kiosk or whatever, a little stop. You know how Walmart has those little sections where they have actual like Starbucks or who is that? Subways or something where you can open up a business in that business. And you've decided, well, we just not gonna sell we're not gonna sell frappuccinos no more. So what's to stop Walmart from selling frappuccinos or shutting you down and just taking over their business, just taking it? And it's kind of funny because that also is an indication of how the Moors should be moving right now. I'm just saying. All right. So 20 minutes in, real quick. Thank you all for being here. Who is this? Nothing better to do on a Friday night. Who is this? I'm not going to even whatever pronounce your name. I'm just going to block you. How do I block you? Hide user. There we go, because you're not worth the air that you breathe. There we go. You ain't got nothing else to do but sit up in here with me. But thank you for the engagement, because that'll help the algorithm. So appreciate you. All right. Yeah, you're number one. So yeah. So Moorish meetup recap. Thank you all to the rest of you all for being here. Actually, thank that guy for being here too, because wow, look at all these comments. I can't see them because it says message deleted. Everything says message deleted. So I'm gonna roll with that. That's a lot. Wow. I hope that wasn't a waste of time for you, because it was just a click of a button for me. But there you go. There's the attention you must have been seeking. Moorish Meetup, Georgia. I actually got to take a break. I actually got to have a vacation. All right. So nobody showed up. And I actually told our beacon, I don't care if anybody shows up. I need a break. It wasn't anything rude. It's just I'm going to be in Georgia to get away from the house. Because I live downstairs and I work upstairs. So I need to get far, far, far away from home in order to get away from work. All right. And why not go somewhere that I know I like? So I end up going to Georgia, right? I used to live in Georgia. I lived in Augusta for like 3 years. And then I went back for like a month, lived there for a month before I moved here, right? And now I've decided, hey, now I decided I might be relocating back to Georgia. I was going to go to Michigan, but in Georgia, our beacon, brother Amir Sharif, shout out to him, who is from Michigan, right? Reminded me, he helped me to remind myself, however it worked, that the further north you go, the meaner the people get. So I'm like, I'm from Chicago. I left Chicago because of how evil the people were. Indiana is slightly better, but not much. And I'm trying to go further north to Michigan, to somewhere in Michigan, not Detroit, right? But somewhere in Michigan, nah. And then my children kept saying it, how relaxed and laid back it felt. Okay, y'all picking up the vibes too. That's a very good sign. That's helping make my decision easy. So Amor might be relocating back to Georgia, somewhere in Georgia. So I'm like, I told him more like, because he was even like, yeah, that was a good idea. I thought about that, what you said. And then I thought about him thinking about what I said. And then I realized that's how I was able to come to my decision. I actually had some time to think because I only had one more to talk to. It's like, oh, I feel like, have you ever seen that video? It's an anime called Elfin Lied. It looks like Lied. When you look at Elfin Lied, no, that's not, it's Elfin Lied. That's how you can know the real people who are fans, the real otaku, right? How it's a breed of people who can like telepathically reach out with these hands. I don't know how to describe it. You just got to watch the video. I don't know how to describe it right now. But that's how I feel when I hold these things. It's like I got 1,000 hands coming out my head trying to make sure everybody's good. So it was like, oh, day one, it's only one of y'all. Yeah, I could do this. All right. Oh, the food is banging. It's raw, vegan. Oh, this Tassili's Raw Reality Cafe. Yeah, it was banging. I'm glad that was part of the reason I went back because we had a meetup last year at the exact same time, and Moors were trying to get me to like stay an extra day because Tassili's had just closed, and I just had to try this. I had to try this wrap before I leave, so stay an extra day. So I'm like, you know what? Let me go check this mug out. Oh yeah. And it was great. It was delicious. It was healthy, and the Moor paid for my meal. So thank you, Moor. That was great because I think he feels bad for me, which is fine. Right? I think I slipped and told him before I found out about the Moors, the last good so-called black man I met personally was my father, right? But I don't even know if I can count him as a black man because he was Nation of Islam. Tough. All right, which is probably why it was so easy for me to transition into the Moorish Science Temple of America. Pretty cool. So, well, that's first day. So we met up at Tassili's, and then we went to Arabia Mountain, which was a smaller, gave me the impression of being a smaller version of what was that, Stone Mountain, which was 30 minutes away. It was crazy. It was like the exact same topography. Like it looked like I told the brother, like it either looked like burn marks from being scorched by something or burn marks from traveling through something and hitting it, landing. You know how stuff like if it moves too fast, it starts to vibrate and it might leave an impression type of thing. So it was just interesting how it was crazy. It was like a smaller version of Stone Mountain and didn't take nearly as long to get up there. So I really enjoyed that part. And we found puddles of water and it had signs by the puddles that said don't step in the puddles, no problem, because there's life in there. It was something floating around in there, and every time you were like, oh, look at that, it would stop moving. It was moving fine when you were just looking at it, and then as soon as you said something, it would stop moving. I don't know. So that was cool. And was that the same night? Yes, the same night we went to the observatory. It was Ralph Buse Observatory. I think it's Buse because it's spelled like juice, but with a B. And of course, so it was just every Friday, if the weather permits, they let you come in and look through their high-powered telescope. I didn't know that's what it was. I thought we were just gonna go and look through some little telescopes, and then they would tell us to look over there, you'll see this. Look over there, you'll see that. No, this thing was humongous. It was huge. It was ridiculous. It was dope. And we drove up. Oh, so cool. And as we're driving up, if you ever seen the observatory, so it's a dome, right? And then it has that slit in it where you can where the telescope can look out and they can move the telescope and the dome moves with it. And of course, as we're driving up, the dome is moving. I'm like, this is the bomb. I love it. I love it. This is a great sign. And then we get there. It is nothing but Sleepy Moors running this thing. Like, are you serious? I got to come back to Georgia. It was nothing but us up in there running it. Right? It was cool. I think there was somebody else, another nationality was like actually controlling the telescope itself. But as far as like when I called to check the time, I talked to a sister. When I couldn't find the entrance, I had to talk to a brother. Right? It was dope. And then we get up in there, we looking through the telescope, and they have it trained on the Pleiades. I'm like, this is dope. So we're having a Moorish meetup, and you have this telescope tonight selection because apparently every weekend when they're if they're open, they they look at a different constellation. So that night's selection was the Seven Sisters. Because, of course it was. Of course it was. So, yeah, the more that showed up for that, we had a great conversation. It was just fun standing in the line because it was pitch black. You can hear all these crazy conversations. I'm like, it's all of these Moors, all of these nerds. Because it was like 10 o'clock at night, right? Almost 10 o'clock at night because they had to wait till it was pitch black. And it was like nothing, majority us. Because like I said, it was dark. I'm just like, but you could tell by the tone. I'm like, are you serious? It's a bunch of us came out this late at night on a Friday, and there's children here to look through this telescope. Yeah. Yeah. I was like, yeah, I could go home right now. But then the next day, we went to Sweetwater Creek. That was fun. It was weird because it's a creek, but I don't know what this thing was. I'm gonna have to look at a map. It was we were driving up, it looked like a lake. Okay, it was round. I'm like, I thought it was a creek. I'm used to creeks being like skinny rivers. I know what a river looks like. There's a creek right over there. Yeah, behind my house. I know what a creek looks like. Why is this thing round? Okay, I'm not going to ask no questions because they call the Great Lakes lakes when those are obviously not lakes. Those are like inland seas or whatever. So yeah, happy holy day too. To you too, Jeffrey Bay. So we get there, and I'm like, okay, maybe it'll change up when we get up there. Maybe this is a reservoir or something. So we get up there, and I'm calling the brother that's our beacon. Oh, and I'm about to get into the signs and symbols part. Yeah, this is cool. This part was cool. So the brother that's the beacon, he's like, yeah. I'm like, is this supposed to be this crowded? I'm in the right spot. I thought you said there's like something secluded and quiet. And he's like, I don't know what's going on. I've been up here so many times. It's never been this crowded. I'm like, of course it's not. Of course it's not. And let me check the weather. Yup, it's the hottest day. Yup, the hottest day in the past couple of weeks. It's the hottest day. Oh, that keeps happening. So it's packed. I don't know why it's so packed up here. It's like it's like a trail. I'm like, why is this mug so packed? So we park in a ditch because it was like that. We had to park in a ditch and we meet up with the beacon and we like, yeah, let's just go ahead. I just want to see the mill where they used to make the Negro cloth. He's like, oh, no problem. It's right around the corner. No problem. All right. And we got to walk this way past the information center. And we walked past it, and I'm just like, we should go up in there. I want to see what they got up in there. Sometimes it's like a library, a little school thing. You learn a lot by going in the information center if they got a booth or something. He's like, all right, cool. So we walk in there. Here's the size and symbol. We walk in there, and I'm looking around, and I'm just like, okay, I know I'm sober. I know I'm sober. I don't know why it's the first thing that popped in my head, but I don't know why it looked the way it did, but it just looked surreal. Like, is that a Fez? Is that a Fez? And I look at the beacon, like, is that a Fez? Because I'm not sure I'm looking at what I'm looking at. And he's looking at me and it's like, is that a Fez? Like, yeah. So we just walk to it and it's a brother in a Fez. It's like, this is so cool. I don't know why me. I can't talk for him, but I don't know why I couldn't believe what I was looking at. I've seen brothers in fezzes before, but this was weird. I mean, it's like, it must be something in the air because it's otherworldly. It was really weird. So we get over there, we start talking to them more, and it's just, of course, it's a great time, right? And then the beacon was like, I love when that happens. Like, what? How we were about to just walk straight to the mill, straight past the information center. And you said, let's go in here, see what's up in there. Walk up in there, and there's a Fez. Thank goodness he was wearing a Fez or something, right? Or how would we have recognized him? And then he joined our little troop. And then we had a great tour, a great discussion. My son was just talking that Morris, the one we like, is that a Fez? Talking his ear off, right? it was great. It was a time. And yeah. And I'm so happy that I happened to have on my turban. So when we walked up to him, oh, and the beacon, he had on a turban too. So when we walked up to this brother in a fez, we immediately recognized each other, and there was immediately peace, right? So yeah, that's why I say it's important for this is why this is called Signs and Symbols. And I'm about to wrap this up. Again, thank you all for being here. Okay. So thank goodness that Moor had on his fez. I'm wondering if that thing was magnetic because it pulled us up in there. We were about to walk right past. And he was great. Murael, shout out to you. Appreciate you more. And then as we were on the trail, just walking and looking at this creek that's I don't know. It turned long, right? But then it was like, here we go with something else that I need to figure out. Why does it look like it's going this way, but there's water flowing from that way? And then when you get to a certain point, it looked like it was going left, and then this water right here it was wild. And then it was full of these things that looked like boulders, but they were obviously not boulders. It looked like trees, like you know how when a tree is cut and it's lumpy on the edges. But I'm just like, this is only time I've ever seen trees with trunks that big was in California with the sequoias. All right. That was crazy. So that's Sweetwater Creek, right? But on the way to seeing all this stuff, we were having a dope discussion because Moors were so happy to be with one another. We just talking. And it came up like, yeah, I was so glad that you were that we went up in there into the visitor center because I saw your fez. And that reminded me of, I don't know if I've told this story before, so if you've heard it before, forgive me, you're about to hear it again. How I have for marketing, for sale, I wish I had one on me, the Moorish medallion. Okay. I might have told this story before where I was in a ghetto neighborhood. If you know Riverdale, Illinois, it's not quality. I love my people, but I prefer to love some of them from a distance. All right. So I find myself in Riverdale. And like I was telling the brothers, I was walking from a store and I had to go catch my train. But to get to my train, I have to cross under the train track. Okay. And if you're from Illinois or up there near Chicago, you might know the concept of viaducts, how those train tracks go above the street so it doesn't stop the traffic, right? But the street goes down a little bit. It makes a scoop that tends to flood, right? And it's also very dark down there. It's a great place to commit crimes of various sorts. So if you're from Chicago, I think they have them in Detroit too. You know not to, especially as a woman, you know not to walk through these things at night. It's barely safe to walk through them during the broad daylight. I had to go through, I'm like, forget it. I got to make my train because I still got to buy the ticket. So I'm headed down this viaduct, right? And I'm like, please, Allah, just let me get my ticket and get home in peace. I just want to get my ticket and get home, please. So, of course, as I'm walking down, I see a very tall male walking up the other side. And I'm like, well, it's either turn around. Of course, halfway in the middle of the viaduct. So it's either finish my mission or turn around because I'm exactly halfway through. So I'm just like, forget it. I just want to get home. And I continue walking, right? Like, well, I'm from Chicago. I know how to handle myself. Hope you know how to handle yourself. And we walk towards each other. I'm just trying to walk past him and hoping he just walks past me. So as I'm walking past him, this is him. This is me. Walking past him, this is me. I'm walking past him and he just stops. And just looks at me. And I'm just like, huh? Like what? And like I was telling the brother, I'm just like, what? I'm from Chicago too. Like I just couldn't help him. Like, what? They're, squaring up, right? And he just looks at me. Like, what? And then he opens his jacket and he has on the Moorish medallion. And apparently we had been speaking over Facebook. I had never seen him before, but he had seen me because of the books I put out. So he knew who I was, right? And that just immediately diffused the situation because he just went like, and showed me his medallion. Like, that's dope. We good. We good. So I just say that to say that is so cool. Here we go again, because just like I thought this brother was a threat, he just showed me a symbol. Until you prove otherwise, we good. And here go this brother, right? How did we know to make sure he joined us on this trek through the creek? He had on his symbol, the fez. I think that's it. So if you want some symbols, I have plenty to offer. But if you go to califamedia.com or califamedia.works, all of our Moorish regalia is up there because Moors have stuff. Look, this is the shirt. I made this based off I'm gonna get into another symbol real quick. Okay, I know it's 40 minutes in. I gotta get into some other symbols that the brother brought up. These are symbols. Okay. I took this off of the prophet's sash, that the prince's sash that he wore to the convention. All right. And it was funny. Here go this thing with symbols real quick, and I'll wrap this up. In the new book, I put an image of the prophet, right? I don't know if you all have ever seen that picture, right? When I look at that picture, first of all, I love that he has on a do-rag, okay? And then he got his arms crossed. I got to figure out the symbolism of it because I love symbols. Where he got his right hand on his left arm, left bicep, and then he's holding his right hand up like he's like, where's the rest? Where's the rest? Right? Tell me if that's not what you see. So I love that picture because he looks like a merchant to me. Okay. And the beacon, I'm like, yeah, you've been such a great host. Here's a free copy. And I opened it up for him for some reason. He looked at it. He's like, oh my gosh, that's the prophet? Like, yeah, you never seen this before? No, it looked like Gaines L. And then it hit me. But he's like, no. And then I look closer and I'm looking at the face. And it's like, that ain't Gaines L. I thought that was Gaines L. Like, why would he think that was Gaines L? Why would he think that was Gaines L? Why would he think that was Gaines L? Yeah, you ever heard of a Sufi faint? Why do you think that's Gaines L? Biters. All right, biters. Biter. Who's a biter? This ain't to knock the followers of Gaines L. This is to totally, completely not Gaines L. And he got that sash on, right? The sash that the prophet wore. That's the sash. Biter, right? So, biters, signs and symbols. Why did he choose to rock this picture of all pictures? Why did he choose something original? Because he's a biter. Signs and symbols, signs and symbols. All right. And with that, I'm done. Thank you, Morris, for being here. Happy Holy Day. Salute to you too. Who's at King 7 Up R3M3. I don't know if that's supposed to mean something, but thank you for being here, So yeah. And there we go. Thank you, Morris. If you have any questions, hit me up. CalifaMedia.com/contact us. CertifiedMoors.com/contact us. RiseOfTheMoors.org/contact us. Right? Or CalifaMedia@gmail.com. And that's Califa, like Cali, like California. CALIFA. CalifaMedia@gmail.com. All right. That's all I got. And I'll talk to y'all later. Thank you all for joining. And bye-bye. Have a great rest of your week. All that. And I'll see y'all next Friday, if not sooner. Peace of love and bye-bye, y'all. Peace. Bye-bye.